the challenges of the perfect storm decade. We had the 2002 drought. We had BSE in 2003. By 2007, we had currency that had suddenly shot up to $1.10, and we trade on the Canada-US market, so you went from a 70-cent dollar to $1.10 to base our price. Then we had the Great Recession, the worst recession in 50 years. And then we had MCOOL put in place in the US in 2008. When events like that happen, we're the front line of defense. Being proactive as an industry becomes really important. In 1996, we decided with the increased risks we're seeing around the world is to create a national identification system. We also created the Canadian Cattle Identification Agency. So it remained under the control of industry, which I think is also another important thing that as an industry we do. We do work with some really, really competent people who are epidemiologists, and we were monitoring what was going on in Europe, and particularly the UK, but it was in Switzerland, it was in France, it was in other countries of BSE, and we realized, there's a latent factor with it. If we ever had to deal with something like that, and we didn't think we would, we better have our ducks in a row. My son was 4 months old when we discovered BSE. Neil Yonke, our president of the day, we both got a phone call letting us know that there was a highly probable case of BSE. And we had to sit on that, as was told in strict confidence. And if it wasn't a case of BSE, you don't want to panic the markets either.
As you know, in the past 10 months, North America experienced its first 2 cases of BSE. The first find was in Canada on May 20th as the announcement was made, and then again we had the announcement in this room on December 23rd.
We went from May 20th when all the borders closed and people questioning whether they'd sell Canadian beef to by Father's Day. We actually had a shortage of Canadian beef in Canada. And because of the fact we had been proactive, we had a national ID system. We'd put in place a whole bunch of measures before we found BSE, not expecting to find BSE. Not only did Canadians maintain their confidence in the safety of Canadian beef, we actually began to feel we were being unfairly treated. And we started to see barbecue lineups across the country buying Canadian beef. And in July, we actually saw close to a 70% increase in beef consumption to help the Canadian beef industry in 2003. And that's always been one of the things we've talked about in our vision statement. We want to be one of the most trusted sources of high quality beef in the world. It's something we really take seriously. We knew the science behind BSE, that there's never any infective tissue ever found in beef. And at the same time, how we worked with others to start to get the international rules changed. One thing I've said to people, it's a lot easier to look to your friends than to look for friends. When you're dealing with a crisis in our industry, people roll up their sleeves. We'd had a very strong relationship with our counterparts.
The most secure beef in the world is the North American beef, regardless if it is from Mexico, or it's from Canada, or it is from the United States. That's the most important thing.
If you ever doubt the value and the importance of the international process, that day proved to me beyond any shadow of a doubt how important all of these things really are.